Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voiceover Casting Corner. My name is Kelly Mushinsky. I am the owner and head of casting here at the Voice Caster.
And I'm Catherine Horan. I'm the Senior Casting Director here at the Voice Caster, and we are so glad you are here with us for today's conversation. This one's going to be a little reflective, a little real, and maybe even a little personal.
Yep. So today we are going to be talking about something that happens to all of us at some point in our careers, and that is changing directions, outgrowing old things, all the things that you know and used to know, and making space for new opportunities.
Exactly. I mean, I think in creative careers, especially, there's this myth that, you pick one path and you just stay on it forever. Like you're supposed to have the same goal forever and always. What you wanted to do as a teenager or a college student, you're supposed to do the rest of your life. And the truth is, in careers, especially in voiceover, there are so many winding roads. There's so many different paths you can take. And this is something we've seen a lot with the interviews we've been doing with people on here. So many of them started out in different avenues and ended up in voiceover. And, there are turns, there are detours. Sometimes you might make a U-turn here or there. And, it's not a sign that you're failing. It's actually a sign that you're growing and improving.
Yep. So yeah, I mean that's exactly it. It's like you have been probably chasing a certain type of role or even focusing on a certain genre, and then it's like one day you just kind of realize, like that's not what I'm feeling anymore. The energy is shifting, and maybe there are different things that kind of light you up and give you that energy. It's like where does that passion lie? And it's like that could be in coaching. You start working with people and you find that that's your passion, maybe producing or directing,
Yeah.
or honestly, maybe a whole different genre of VO than you even started in, something that you may not even know about right now. And it's like for me, I've had those moments in my career. I originally went to college for pre-med. I was going to be a psychiatrist. And then when I was doing a lot of work in the theater and things like that, I was like, oh, maybe I'm gonna shift gears, And I went into education and I was like, I'll be a teacher. I'll teach theater. And even that, I was like, I'm just not feeling that. I just want to pursue, a theater degree and see what happens from there. And, the hardest part is there is a lot of guilt behind that when you feel like you've been doing something for a long time, but it just doesn't fit who you are anymore. And we start to think like, oh, well, I've invested all this time or money into it. I should just keep going, right?
Yeah. I think they call that the sunk cost fallacy where, I've put all this time and effort. I can't just change now. Maybe it'll finally work out or I'll feel better about it in a month, and that's just, not usually how things work. So staying with something you've always done, it's like wearing shoes that don't fit anymore. We outgrow things or, certain, maybe your pants fit differently now. Just as you get older, things change, you mature, you grow, and, so it's perfectly natural that you're going to want to pivot or maybe detour a little bit. And, sometimes you don't even know that you're going to like something until you're doing it. So maybe you really envisioned this was going to be the thing for you. You do it, you realize, you know what? Maybe I don't like it as much as I thought I would, but I really like X, Y, and Z. So you move in that direction. So it's all about learning and growing.
Yep. And that's probably the biggest thing is also realizing that when you let go of something that you've outgrown and make those changes, it frees up space in your life for the next opportunity, the next big thing that you're going to focus on. And it's like you've probably seen people who jump from one thing to the next. It's like there's nothing wrong with that. It's figuring out really where your passion is and what you want to focus on, and how to shift gears to make it match what works for you right now.
Exactly. So with that said, thank you all for being here for this chapter of the Voiceover Casting Corner. We're about to pivot a little bit and, make some changes of our own.
Yeah, so we love doing these live recordings, and it with schedules and everything else, it can be tough. We love the interaction. We love the real-time energy, knowing that you are with us right now. We can see your comments. we can say hi. It's like we love that, and it is so fun for us. And hopefully it's been fun for you guys too.
Get a little peek behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're not going away. We're just, changing formats a little bit. But you'll still be hearing from us and seeing us. You can still interact with us.
Yep. Yeah. So we are going to have today be the last live recording of VoiceOver Casting Corner. And we are going to shift into recording each episode. So we will still be releasing 2 episodes a month. Our schedule may shift. Right now, we're not planning on having a shift. We're still planning on releasing an episode of me and Catherine on the second Tuesday of the month, and then an interview episode the last Friday of the month, just like we've been doing. But we're just not going to be doing the live portion for now. So we will be doing some Q&As, though. We will hop on from time to time just to do some Q&As.
Yeah.
Anybody who's in our insiders membership and all of that, I mean, you have access to us all the time to ask questions and stuff as they come up. So. And honestly, I think one of the biggest things is this change is going to give us a little more space to really create high quality content too. It's like we are here, we are answering questions. Sometimes that can make the episodes be all over the place. And, it's one of those things where we want to be able to be a little more focused and make sure that what we are delivering of the highest quality possible.
Exactly. And if you still... if you're out there, if you guys have ideas of stuff you want to hear us talk about or things you'd like us to address, feel free, of course, to still reach out. We're happy to still take suggestions on topics you'd like to hear us discuss with you.
Yep. And we still have a Google form where you can always submit questions. You can email us and all of that. We're not going anywhere. We are still here. You're still going to be hearing from us. We're just not going to be live every month. So we'll be sure to let you know. So make sure you follow us on social media and things like that as well.
Exactly. And follow and subscribe to the podcast if you haven't yet. We're on all the major platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music. I don't know what they call it anymore. we're on all of those things.
Apple Podcasts, maybe?
Yeah, the Apple Podcasts. I don't know. Changing names.
Yeah, we're on all of them.
Yes.
So yeah, definitely follow us, subscribe, make sure you don't miss anything. We'll still be doing video and audio formats. So, nothing is really changing except the fact that we're here live today, and next month it'll be pre-recorded. Yeah. But we will still bare our souls to you. All right. So for those of you who are live with us, or even if you're not, we check comments and stuff. If you've had moments like this and you have outgrown things and moved on, tell us. Tell us something that you have outgrown in your career and something that you're leaning into now that maybe a few years ago you wouldn't have thought was going to be the direction you take.
Right.
I feel like oftentimes one of the things is people start in commercials, and then next thing you know, they're like doing, corporate narration. They're like, I didn't even know what corporate narration was when I started voiceover, or some people focus on animation, and then next thing you know, they're doing more commercials, or a lot of people start out in audiobooks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are a lot of times that there are going to be shifts like this in your career, and let it happen. Don't fight it.
That's one of the cool things about voiceover, just anyway in general, is there are so many avenues and so many different niches and things that you can, fall into and get lost in and enjoy and explore. So yeah, sometimes you don't know about things until you find out about them.
Kind of the magic of it. I mean, that's really, if you think about it, like that's life, isn't it? Like we always have these new chapters. I mean, it's like there's always something different, and it's like that in just your personal life. It's like that in your business. It's like, it's like, it's even like coaches and stuff. Sometimes people will be like, oh, I've been working with the same coach for 2 years and I feel like I need to switch it up.
Switch it up, definitely.
Absolutely, you need to, it's like, and it's okay to outgrow things, it's not,
or just
being arrogant and saying you're too good. It's like, yeah, you just need to continue growing and it's okay to outgrow things.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I have a couple of questions that I had pulled as well. So let me see. Somebody said, how do I handle the fear of starting over or being seen as a beginner again?
It's a good question. That's a good question. I mean, there's always the old adage, don't worry about what people think, just worry about you and what you need. I know that's also, easier said than done. But I think once you dip your toe in, once you meet the community that's out here, everyone's very supportive. So, especially if voiceover related, I don't think you should be afraid of that because people are going to support you and lift you up and help you out when they can.
Yeah. Well, and my theory is too, it's like so often I'm working with people who have been acting for years and it's like, I'll say something and they'll be like, oh, we're going back to the beginning. We're going back to the basics, and it's like, sometimes you have to go back to the basics.
Yeah. You forget some of the fundamentals over time.
Yeah. And you're never going to truly be a beginner again. It's like even if all of your experience is currently in commercials and you're like, I'm going to pivot and do audiobooks. You are a beginner in audiobooks, but you are not a beginner because you have microphone technique. You know how to be in the booth. So it's like you're never going to truly be just a beginner again. And if you are, then you have all your life experience behind you.
Exactly. And I will say we've had a lot of people throughout the years that I've been here that I've encountered who they had a quote unquote normal day job and then they retired and voiceover or acting was something they always wanted to pursue. And so now they're finally doing it. And I find that so commendable and admirable. Like that's, good for them. That's just so cool to you had this dream, this passion, you weren't able to pursue it, for your job or your profession. But now that you've retired, you've got the time, you've decided you want to still go for it and try it out. And I think that's great too. So even those people, maybe they don't have the acting experience or, the mic technique that some other people might, but they bring with them life experience and other things that's just as valuable. They bring their experiences to the scripts and the projects they're working on, which is great. Everyone's perspective is different and it helps make your reads unique.
Yep. Lots of dentists and doctors and lawyers and accountants and, people looking for career changes. A lot of times I feel like people, coming from the more scientific or mathematical, kind of careers.
IT people and stuff like that.
Yeah, looking into the creative side of things. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No, I think that's
awesome. People have transitioned so well into, I know of a ton of nurses who are fantastic with medical jargon, right? So medical narration, things like that. It's like that is something that even a super experienced voice actor doesn't necessarily know how to.
It's true. And they probably know what it means.
You're right. Looks like use that. You will not ever be truly. Yeah.
If you have a passion for something, go for it. Try it out.
Yep. And let's see. Annie said, I've outgrown or moved on from certain people in my life, but specifically in VO, it's a winding road. Certain coaches don't resonate with you anymore, certain teachers, mentors, etc. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
That is exactly it. There are things where it's like things change, and that is not a bad thing. It's like our lives are constantly in motion. Annie said engineer/scientist here. Yeah, see? This gives you an outlet, it's incredible that you can use both sides of your brain like that, that's amazing. Even on our end, it's like I love that I get to do the creative side, but then I also get to do like the paperwork and the business side.
Right.
Some days I'd rather do more of one than the other, but it all comes with it, and that's okay. I get to do it all, and I love that. So awesome. All right, let me see what else. I had another question here that said, oh, this is a good one. How do I know if I'm ready to make a big career change or if I'm just having a bad day or week?
Well, hopefully you've done some preparation. You're not just going in blind, just, one day I'm just going to up and quit my job and become a voice actor or whatever it is. So hopefully you've taken some classes, you've had some exposure to it. You know that this new avenue is truly something you do want to pursue. But, I mean, I get that from a lot of people. Oh, how do I know when I'm ready to do my demo? Or how do I know when I'm ready to do voiceover full time? And it's not like there's going to be a sign, you just have to have that leap of faith and just go for it and just trust yourself. And it's scary. I don't know how people do it sometimes. It's putting a lot of trust in yourself and in the system and that things are going to work out. But unless you do that, you're never going to know. So unfortunately, I think you just, do the best you can to prepare, but then you just got to do it.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself, Catherine. That's exactly it. All right. And here's another one. What if I've invested years in one path? How do I avoid feeling like I'm throwing it away? It kind of goes back to what we were talking about as far as the time and money investment. And it's like, you're not going to know until you try it, right?
And who knows, from what you've been learning this whole time, you're going to be able to apply to this new avenue anyway. So it's not a complete waste of time. You still learn something. You still got skills that you can use.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're talking about, switching genres in VO or, something like that. It's like, okay, you've spent a year, really training and working on audiobooks and things like that. Okay. And then you're like, oh, but I don't want to do this anymore. I want to move into animation. Great. They all can work together. It's like every single acting class, singing class, improv class, all of it is going to help your career. So, it's none of it's lost. And here's the other,
even if you're transitioning from on camera to voiceover or vice versa, there's a lot of overlap.
Yep. And here's the thing is like, if you enjoyed it while you were doing it for that year, I also feel like that's also not a loss because you got to do something you were passionate about for a year. Your passion died out. Okay, so you move on, but I don't think that was lost. Those are all things that just shape us as humans and give us different life experiences too. I'm going to get deep here on this. All right, let me see if we have. Oh, we kind of answered this, but I'll say it. What skills from my old career can I repurpose for my new direction?
I guess without knowing exactly what they are. I mean, it can be anything. It can be communication skills. It can be reading skills. Could be, like Kelly was talking about the nurses and the medical jargon or technical jargon. If you come from the IT side, sometimes there's very technical, especially in like corporate narration type stuff, you might encounter that. So you never know, or just being able to tell a story, or, we get a lot of people sometimes, oh, I'm really good at, reading my kids' bedtime stories, oh, well, that might translate well to audiobooks. You never know. Sometimes it might surprise you. These little things that you always took for granted, you're like, oh, actually, it works really well for this.
Yeah. I mean, I just did a consult the other day for somebody, and it was like his thing is that he books talent for things, basically. And it was one of those things where he's like, how can I use that in voiceover? He's like, he's getting all the training and all of that. He's like, but how? That was exactly his question: is how can I use what I know in this career? And I'm like, direct marketing. like you already know how to reach
connections
out
that
to
you've
people
made too.
and
Yeah.
people books, and it's like
Hmm.
you have those marketing skills depending on what you do in your everyday day job. You already have skills that can absolutely be used in voiceover. I mean, when you're a voice actor, you are a business. You are the CEO of your business. Like that's what you are. You're the creative, you're the business manager, you're the CEO, the CFO, all the titles. So you have to have all those different skills.
Mhm.
So.
And if
And
you
it
do
can
come from a more corporate background, maybe you can use those connections to help get you work.
yes.
Maybe they need a phone on hold message, or maybe they need someone to narrate their training videos. And there you are, ready to go.
And never underestimate the power of just good writing skills,
Mhm.
as far as like outreach to representation, casting
Mhm.
directors,
Oh yeah.
producers, getting yourself out there. If you can write an email, put together a resume, it's like engineers. A lot of engineers come
Mhm.
over and start doing voiceover as well. They've got all of the editing skills. So,
Mhm.
there's a lot of, depending on the career that you're in, there's a lot of different ways that you can apply what you already know.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to mention, in commercials, especially, it's like you've probably known and used some of these products just as a person, not
Right.
even in your job, right? So it's like you can relate to some of that stuff already.
Right.
So there's also that.
Maybe you've been that frustrated consumer and, oh, it's time to switch my cell phone provider, whatever the scenario may be. You can put yourself in that person's shoes in the script.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. And I have one more question here. So how do I deal with people who don't get my decision to change direction? Who cares? That's what I want to say. Now that's easier said than done. Of course you care, especially if it's a spouse or a family member and you're making a big life-changing decision for your family, your household.
Definitely sit down, talk with them, explain maybe why you want to make this
Mm-hmm.
choice, maybe the research that you've done, and why you feel this would be a better avenue for you. And hopefully, because they love and respect you, that they'll understand and want to support you. And I mean, who knows what, if it is a spouse or something, maybe you have some sort of arrangement like, all right, try it for a year and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Who knows? But yeah, maybe try and explain it to them, let them see your side of things.
Yep. And a lot of people, again, Catherine said it earlier, but a lot of people don't just say, I'm going to get into voiceover, quit their day job, and start spending money on coaching and demos and all of that.
I highly don't recommend that.
No, don't quit your day job yet. Start booking, and then make the leap. Eventually, you do have to make the leap. It's like, especially if you want it to be full time. Otherwise, having a day job will be limiting, for sure. So, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for being here for our last live taping of Voiceover Casting Corner. We are closing this chapter, as they say, but that doesn't mean we can still be casting. I'm always here, and we are always here to help and answer questions, and you'll be hearing from us twice a month. So all right. And oh wait, hold on, another question. We'll answer this one real quick as well. So Mike said, hey Kelly and Catherine, what's the proportion of your casting local only versus remote? A lot of things, yes. So Peer on X is trying to raise concerns on how character opportunities, games, and animation have backpedaled heavily to local only. Wanted to hear your thoughts. So yeah, Mike, it is something that we are seeing. So on the commercial side, it's still more open. It's like we'll get the occasional casting where they're like, we want them to be in LA, we want everybody to record in studio in Los Angeles, things like that. doesn't happen too often. But the video game and animation side of it is moving a lot of it back into the studio. You know, it's like they went remote for the pandemic. Now that that's done, they are bringing things back. So it's like I've seen that, you know, the people who are more established, meaning they are on a certain series or they've worked on multiple video games with a certain company, things like that, those people are still working remotely. But as far as getting new opportunities, I have seen a lot of it saying LA local. So reasoning behind that, not 100% sure. Sometimes it's group recording sessions. If it's not that, it might just be, you know, recording quality can be so different from studio to studio. You know, it's like I don't know what their reasons are exactly. But you know, definitely a thing. So, all right. And I don't think I missed any other questions. So awesome. All right. Well, we are going to wrap up for today, and we will see you all on the 29th, the last Friday of this month. Me and Catherine had a great conversation with JP Karliak.
That's a good one.
Be sure to check that out as well. And we will see you all soon. Thank you.